Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest, Engineer Khaled Mekaty, the President of the Exporters Association. It's a very good afternoon to you, Engineer Khaled.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Inju.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this afternoon.
Now,
thank you very much, sir. Now, first and foremost, let's talk a bit about some of the main reasons behind the increase in Egyptian exports to more than 32 billion US dollars in 2021.
Well, there's several reasons, of course, for this increase, which was again inevitable that we should have reached this long time ago. First of all, we have the Egyptian products across the industrial sectors have increased the competitive edge as well as the competitive edge. Competitive edge means the quality of the Egyptian product has been improved tremendously across all sectors, which gave a competitive edge with the competitors from other countries within the same sector. Talking about the food industry, talking about the garments. The garments has increased by itself standalone 41%, by passing 2 billion worth of exports. The food the same. They have also increased because the quality of the food and the health safety authority that has been there now is of course giving proper guidance, as well as our agri industry. So besides the quality and the competitive edge, because our prices, of course, the labor is cheaper, electricity is cheaper, transportation within the land transportation is cheaper than other competitive countries around us. So this also gave us the competitive edge. But beside this is opening new markets, because continuing to export to the same markets is not necessarily going to increase your exports. But because of what has been done by the Ministry of Trade and Industry, having new trade agreements that has been done similar to what is with Mercosur, southern part of America, with the Latin market over there. It has increased our exports by more than 50% within the food industry, 50% compared to what we have been exporting to Latin American countries. So that's opening new markets. Now, for example, in the agriculture, we're trying to open Southern Asian market, which is Vietnam, Thailand, and all this. They're looking for agriculture products. In Kenya, we are exporting now the oranges. We haven't been exporting before the oranges. This is a new market in Africa to export your fresh foods. So basically, you're looking at a competitive edge, and new market, opening new destinations. Besides this also, introducing new exporters, because you have more than 100,000 registered as industrial entities within the Federation of Egyptian Industries, but not more than 4,000 entities are exporting. So in order to reach our target that we're looking at, which has been declared as a target to reach 100 billion, we have to increase our number of exporters. And that's what Expolin, our Egyptian Export Association, is working on, is giving sessions, training sessions every quarter for a number of companies to have them as newcomers to the export field.
Right. Engineer Khaled, you said something very interesting. You said it was inevitable, the increase of Egyptian exports sooner or later. Could you tell us a bit about the different variety of Egyptian exports? You mentioned agricultural products, for example, the oranges, etc., citrus fruits. Could you tell me a bit more about what other products have increased the exportation to other countries? As you mentioned, new markets have been accessed by the Egyptian market.
Look at the engineering sector, for example. Engineering sector, you're talking about home appliances. Home appliances now, you're widely exporting them to the African market, East Africa as well as West Africa. We have good quality of home appliances, and it's having created a brand. We have now, because exports again is not only a final product. Now we have the home appliances manufacturers are assembling in east part of Africa, in Burundi, in Ethiopia, in Rwanda. They are assembling over there. That means you're creating an added value, but you're still exporting. But you're exporting it as a SKD, semi-knockdown, and assembling it there and selling it under your own brand name, thus creating an advantage value to the brand name itself. So engineering sector is definitely one of the increasing exports are going not only to Africa, but also to the Gulf area. Also, and cables, of course, we are one of the largest manufacturers of electrical cables here. And Egypt is not only exporting to Africa, but is also exporting to Europe, as well as the gas meters, water meters, and electrical meters. That's something that also Egypt has proven good manufacturing quality in that, and we have several factories, public and private sector. But also the sector of the building material. In building material, you have increased, for example, our natural stone, and we are the 7th largest exporters in the world. Of course, after Brazil, Turkey, Italy, Spain, India, we come in the place number 7. We're exporting to China, of course. We're exporting to Europe. We're exporting to the States, and now we're exporting to Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. That has new markets. So building material is also another increasing sectors in not only stone but also ceramics, as well as waterproofing material. There are several materials that is within the building material.
Yes, absolutely.
Similarly, also the food sector. We talked about this, and then you have the agriculture. You have also the medical consumable products. We have 250 companies registered as exporters, and we are exporting to Europe, not only to Africa, but we are also exporting to Europe. And European companies are tool manufacturing in Egypt with their own specs. So that's something that also Egypt is growing as an advantage in the medical sector as consumable products.
Absolutely. Engineer Khaled, let me ask you, how do you see the economic reforms that happened in Egypt, the attention to product efficiency, contributing to the increase of the volume of Egyptian exports, especially during this difficult couple of years with the coronavirus pandemic? The whole world actually suffered from lockdown and shutdown, yet during this time we still managed to export and even increase our exports.
Look, economic reform starts a couple of years before the pandemic.
Yes.
Because it started with the adjustment of the local currency versus the international currency. And that's one thing that has made a major impact on our economy. In spite, of course, that our exports did not jump as it has been anticipated that it would do, but yet it was for the long run. And that's what we're seeing now. But there's yet a lot to be done. And coming back just to the word inevitable, because our exports in 2010 was 25 billion, and our exports now is 32 billion. But our currency at that time was half our currency at what we are now. So now the currency has decreased from 2010. That means we need still to do huge efforts, because if you compare the volume at 2010 to the volume now, of course, that is big difference. But besides this economic reform that has been taken in consideration of adjusting our local currency with the international currencies, also the great decision, I'd say, that has been taken by our president when we shut down only for 3 months from March to May during the pandemic of 21, taking a very high risk towards the population and said, no, we will not shut down, but we will take great measures and great precautions in protecting our citizens, of course, within the COVID, made us to be one of the fastest growing economy nowadays.
Absolutely, right.
We have a GDP coming up to 5 or close to 5, whereas major countries, much bigger than us, as 1%.
Absolutely.
Which this is a courageous decision that has been taken by our leadership, which we have to be thanking. Plus, what also has added to the economic growth is the immense work in the infrastructure sector.
All leading towards, this more productivity. Absolutely.
Exactly. So with this immense workmanship infrastructure, there's a lot of products, a lot of industries serving the sector basically on that.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Engineer Khaled Mekaty, President of the Exporters Association. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your insight on today's edition of Cairo Local Time.